Hey everyone, and welcome to another YouTube video. If it's your first time out here, my name is Jonas and I'm going to be an incoming freshman at Lynn University in Florida this fall. And in this video, I'm going to talk about everything you need to know about the Duolingo English Proficiency Test. So let's get started. So if you have not seen my previous video, go check that out first. I will leave a link to that in the description below. And if you have seen it, you will remember me saying all praise about the Duolingo English Proficiency Test. And then comes this video in which I'm going to talk exclusively about the Duolingo English Proficiency Test. And it's not because Duolingo is sponsoring either of these videos, which honestly would be great, but they are not. But I decided to make a video on the Duolingo test specifically because the test is so student friendly and flexible to take, and a lot of people don't know about it. So to ensure that you get all the information about the Duolingo test in this one video and I do not miss out on giving any of the important information, I've decided to divide this video into three sections. In the first section, I'll be talking about the advantages that the Duolingo test has over its competitors. In the second section, I will be talking about the general things that you need to know about the test, the duration of the test, the type of questions that you might get, the things that you need to have during the test. And in the third section, I'll be talking about my experience of giving the test, give you some tips on how to prepare for it, some things that you need to keep in mind which will overall help you get a good score. So that's all the things that this video is going to cover, and without any further ado, let's get down into it. Okay, so if you have done any amount of research on the English proficiency tests out there, you might have come across the likes of IELTS, TOEFL, or even PT, but not Duolingo. And if you have heard about Duolingo, then you might have heard about it as a language learning company and not as an English proficiency test. But last year, Duolingo became immensely popular during the COVID-19 pandemic, which caused closure of test centers. So IELTS and TOEFL wouldn't be taken because you're required to go to a physical test center to take these tests. And that brings me to the first advantage that Duolingo has over these other English proficiency tests, and that is its ability to be administered remotely. All you need is a functional camera and a microphone to take this test and you're good to go. Also, you save on the transportation cost because of course these test centers where these tests are administered won't be next to your home, so you might have to travel somewhere near or far off distances. So in one way or other, you're saving on transportation costs. And while we're on the subject of cost, let's talk about the actual cost of the Duolingo test, and that is $49 or 3,380 rupees here in India. In comparison, if you want to take the IELTS test, then you will have to pay 14,440 rupees or roughly around $205. And if you want to go with TOEFL, then you will have to pay $185, which comes to somewhere around 12,000 rupees. So to give you a perspective, all the numbers that I just threw at you, you can take 4 Duolingo English proficiency tests at the cost of just one IELTS or TOEFL test. So just in case if you're not happy with your first Duolingo test score, then you can go ahead and take it a second time or even a third time, and it will cost you less than taking a single IELTS or TOEFL exam. And that makes the Duolingo English proficiency test extremely cheap to take. Now moving on to the third advantage that the Duolingo test has over its competitors, and that is in regards to sending test scores. So with Duolingo, they let you send your scores to any number of colleges or schools that you apply to free of charge. But if you take IELTS or TOEFL, they will only let you send your scores to 4 or 5 colleges, and after that you will have to pay an additional fee of $12 to $15 per additional school that you send your score to. So again, on this front, you're making a huge saving in your application process. But one thing to remember with Duolingo is that all schools do not accept the Duolingo test. So make sure that you first check that whether your school accepts the test or not. And I will leave a link down in the description where you can check that out. So the next good thing about Duolingo is the flexibility that it offers to the students. Unlike IELTS or TOEFL, where you need to go to a test center to take the test on a particular date or time according to what they assign you, and that might not be very convenient to you. In the case of Duolingo, once you purchase the test, you can take it anytime you want. You do not have to take it immediately after you purchase it. So whenever you think you are ready to take the test, go ahead, start it, and you can take it within an hour. So this way you have a lot of options of when you want to take the test, and it is extremely flexible. So the next advantage of the Duolingo test will again help you save some money, and that too in the terms of preparation cost. So for Duolingo, you do not have to buy any practice books or practice papers or any of the material of that sort. The Duolingo test provides you with a 15-minute practice test, which you can take as many times as you want, and it is almost 99% similar in terms of questions. So you can take this test whenever you want, how many ever times you want, and in the end they also give you an estimated score range depending upon the answers you answer in the practice test. So that is very convenient and helpful, and again you make a huge saving in costs. Okay, so those are all the advantages that the Duolingo test has over its competitors, and that is all that makes it so student friendly and flexible to take. And Duolingo will ensure that your result reaches out to you within 48 hours of taking the test. And personally, I got my result within 24 hours of taking the test, which is super fast and compared to other tests like IELTS and TOEFL, which takes at least 2 weeks for your results to come out and for you to get it. So if you're in a last minute hurry of submitting your application and you missed out on the English proficiency requirement, then you can go ahead and take the Duolingo test, and I can guarantee you it will not disappoint. So hopefully I've convinced you to take the Duolingo English test with all the advantages that I just mentioned, and if I have, these are the general things that you should know about the test. So like I mentioned earlier, the test is completely online and you require a functional camera and microphone to take the test. Other than that, you will require a stable internet connection because of course the test is online, and you will require a quiet room for 45 minutes to 1 hour, which is the actual duration of the test. Other than all of this, you are not allowed to wear earphones or headphones or have your ears covered during the entire test. And other than this, you cannot have anyone else in the room. If the camera or microphone catches the image or noise of any other person other than you, you will be automatically disconnected from the test. So that is something that you need to keep in mind and be very, very careful about. Next, there are a few things that you will have to do before the actual test starts. First, you will have to confirm that you are not wearing any earphones or headphones like I just mentioned. After that, you will have to check your microphone and speakers through some sort of internal assessment test that they will help you perform. After that, they will ask you to remove a picture of yourself using the device camera that you are using, and ensure that the room that you are sitting in is extremely well lit and your face is clear and visible, because the photo which will be taken will appear on your final certificate, and this certificate will also be sent to the schools that you decide to send your scores to. So here you do not want to make a bad impression of yourself. Next, you will have to enter your country of residence, and after that you will have to take a photo with your passport or your driver's license or any other government ID that you might have to confirm your identity. I would personally recommend to use your passport, because if you are taking the Duolingo test, it is mostly because you're applying to universities or colleges abroad, and a passport is a single most document that is going to be used almost everywhere, so it makes more sense. But whatever document you use, it is more of a personal preference, but ensure that when you are sitting down to take the test, you have some sort of government ID with you. After you do this, you will have to enter a few personal details like your gender, your primary language, and then answer a few prompts, and then finally agree to the terms and conditions of the test, after which you will be allowed to start the actual test. So now come the things that you should know about the actual test. Unlike every other English proficiency test out there, the Duolingo test is also judged on the 4 basic parameters of the English language. Those are reading, writing, listening, and speaking. The entire test is judged on a scale of 160 marks, with each section accounting for 40 marks each. Now most colleges will accept a score above 100 or 110, but make sure you know what is the score that your college accepts. But irrespective of that, anywhere in the range of 140 to 160 is considered a great score, and anything from 120 to 130 is decent enough. Now let's talk about the actual questions that you might get during the test, and the best way to know about these questions is by giving the practice test, because the practice test literally covers all the different question types that you might get. And also I will leave a link down in the description below which covers most of the different questions and also gives you a fair idea of how to answer them. But according to me, the most common type of questions that you might get in the test are identifying the correct English word, identifying the English word from the phonetic sounds, filling in the missing letters in a sentence, or transcribing a sentence, and there are many more. And the best way honestly is to give that practice test as many times as you can, which will give you a very good idea of how to expect in the actual test. And one more thing that you need to know while giving the test is that you won't get the questions section wise, like reading first, then writing, then speaking. Most of the questions will be thrown to you randomly without any order, and you will have to answer them in a limited time frame. Now the next thing you should know about are the final two questions of the test, and these questions are not used in determining your final score. Out of these two questions, in one question you will have to speak on one of the given prompts for 3 to 5 minutes, and in the other one you will have to type out your opinion again on one of the two given prompts. Now the answer to both of these questions will be sent to the colleges that you decide to send your scores to, and they can use these to judge your English abilities based on that. Also keep in mind that if you skip a particular question, then you cannot come back to it. Once it's gone, it's completely gone. And also that the Duolingo test is adaptive, which means that if you keep on answering questions correctly, then it will keep on getting tougher and tougher. But if you answer a question wrong, then the same level of toughness will be maintained. So do not start panicking if the questions keep on getting tougher. It is just that the test is trying to match your English caliber. Okay, so that's it for all the general information and stuff that you needed to know about the Duolingo English test. Now it's time for me to give out my general strategy and how I prepared for the test. And if you are thinking why you should be taking all this advice from me, then you should know that I scored 140s on my Duolingo last year with just a month of preparation. So when I speak out all this advice, I know of what I'm talking, and I'm definitely experienced having given the test. So the next thing that you need to do is focus on the 15-minute practice test, and I can't emphasize enough on how important this is. So suppose you're going to take the test on 30th of November, then I would recommend you start taking the 15-minute practice test multiple times a day from the first week of November. So what I personally did is that I took the practice test thrice a day, once in the morning, then again in the afternoon, and then for the third time again in the evening. How this helps is that you actually get a hang of the test and you know what are the different type of questions that you can expect. Next, as I move closer to my actual test date, like 10 to 12 days if I was supposed to give my actual test, I started to take the practice test 4 consecutive times in a single day. Now by taking the practice test 4 consecutive times, I was actually replicating the main test, which was an hour long. And this really helps because it is not easy sitting in one single position staring at a screen for 1 hour, and you tend to lose focus, you start sweating, and this overall affects your approach to the test. So by taking 4 consecutive practice tests a few days before the main test, you are actually putting your body in the habit of sitting in a single position for 1 hour, and this will help you perform better during the main test. So my next tip would be to read as much as possible, and this is not only limited if you're taking the Duolingo English test, but if you want to improve your overall English skills, then you should read as much as possible, because reading will help you improve your vocabulary, and it will also teach you basics like sentence formation, phrases, and all that stuff. So reading is an overall good tool, not only for taking the Duolingo test, but also for improving your overall English language skills. And my last advice would be regarding the writing and speaking section of the Duolingo test. When attempting questions such as describe the image, or answer to a given prompt, or write an answer to any of the given prompts, make sure you use the vocabulary to the best of your knowledge, because here they're trying to judge your knowledge of the English language. So the use of words such as mandatory instead of compulsory in a sentence is going to come a long way, and is definitely going to help you a lot in your final score. Okay guys, so that's literally everything you need to know about the Duolingo English test. If you have still got any questions, leave them down in the comments below, and I will try to answer all of them. And like always, all the important resources are again in the description below, so you can check them out whenever you want. If you get any value from this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, because there's a lot of interesting content coming up. And again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.